At receiver, they just don't have a stud. Paul Richardson is solid. He's got a couple of touchdowns. We know what they have with Josh Doxson, and it begs the question. So the NFL, there usually aren't a ton of trades, but trade deadline is coming up. And the Oakland Raiders apparently have said they're willing to part with Amari Cooper, who was a top pick in the draft. He's had one really good season.
Did he go 4 or 5 overall?
I'll double check him. It was somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
He was very highly.
He had one really good season. I would say he's been somewhat inconsistent, but he had one really good season.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
Should the Redskins make a play for Amari Cooper? We can open up to Redskins fans and callers on the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Lister line. 800-636-1067 is the number.
He was the 4th overall pick that year.
Cooper's had some injuries this year. He hasn't done anything. He had one decent game. Actually, 2. He had 10 catches in the Denver game, and he had 8 for 128.
He's been a boomer bust guy.
Yeah, but he's had some injuries this year. But you're right. I mean, his rookie year, he had over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Then his second year, he had almost 1,200 and 5 touchdowns. So he's not putting up very good.
I would never call him an elite receiver. I think he'd go in the good to pretty good category.
Definitely not elite.
Not elite. It would all depend on what sort of asking price there is for Amari Cooper. I mean, if you can get him for, I don't know, like a 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick, of course you're going to be interested. You're going to have a discussion. But if the Raiders are wacky and say, we want a 2nd-round pick for the guy,
no, it's not worth that.
That's when you hang up the phone.
I don't even know if he's worth a 4th-rounder.
He might not be.
They're seeking a 1st-rounder.
Oh,
well, that
anybody that gives him a 1st-rounder is stupid.
Is John Gruden insane? He thinks somebody's going to part with a 1st-round pick for Amari Cooper?
He's not Julio Jones.
I mean, if you're Gruden and you can drive that sort of deal with somebody and you can get that back, of course you do that deal, especially if he's not in your long-term plan.
If you gave up a 1st-round pick for Amari Cooper, you should be fired.
I wouldn't even give the last pick in the 1st round for Amari Cooper. In the 32nd overall, I'm not parting with that pick.
Can you check that, Drabby? Hasn't he had some injuries this year?
Well, he just got
knocked
concussed.
out of
He was concussed early in the game against the Seahawks.
Yeah, I know he had the concussion, but I thought he had something else earlier in the year.
But I said he had one good season. Next, he had 2. In 2015, 72 catches.
I just gave you those numbers.
1,070. I mean, I think he's worth more than what you guys are saying. What would you give?
He's not worth a 1st-round pick. No way.
I think
GMJP, what do you part with?
I'd probably draw the line at a 3rd. I'd be willing to part with a 3rd.
I don't know.
You're not going to get a better receiver generally than Amari Cooper with a 3rd-round draft choice.
Does Amari Cooper put you over the top?
Doesn't put you over the top. Like Amari Cooper, to me, if I had to guess the rest of his career, he feels like Pierre Garçon-ish. Well, good, solid receiver.
Then you certainly
feels like more of a number 2 guy. He's not a true. Is he a true speed guy? It doesn't seem like it.
No.
Doesn't seem like a burner.
Like I just watched Monday Night Football, and
No, he's not
Marquise is a speed guy.
Marquise Goodwin, yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Like I think Amari Cooper would be perfect as a possession receiver if you have that speed guy. Like he's the Pierre Garçon
as fast as like Calvin
Deshaun
Ridley.
Jackson.
He's not as fast as Calvin
He's
Ridley.
like he reminds me of a guy who's going to get you like 800 to 900 yards receiving and maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Pierre Garçon.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to part with a 3rd-round pick for that sort of production.
Maybe a 4th-rounder, but certainly not a 1st-rounder.
But if that wackadoo Gruden says first rounder or 2nd-rounder, that's when I say you're going to have to go find some other donk to pawn off Amari Cooper on, because I'm not buying what you're selling.
First game of the year, he was targeted 3 times. Then he was targeted 10 times in the Denver game. Had a really good game. Then targeted 5, and then 12, and then 1, and then 1. Now, he did get hurt in the last game. But in the Charger game, targeted 1 time, 1 catch for 10 yards. Not sure if he got banged up in that game. I thought he had some sort of an ankle problem, but I could be wrong. But I'm not giving a 1st-round pick or
insanity.
I mean, he just hasn't proven enough to me. I mean, how many total touchdowns does he have?
I think it's like 15, maybe 15 to 16.
Yeah. Maybe you can convince me on a 4th-rounder.